And next up we have Reese, who I believe is going to do a poem. So please give a round of applause.
So I'm really interested in the language of war, and I was looking around Wikipedia today and I found some interesting things and I decided to write a poem about it. So this is called The Predator. He began as Nat, but being Nat was like being a lawnmower in the sky, they said, so they turned off the sound of his smooth wings beating. Now they call him Predator. He is quieter and better disciplined. His eyes see human heat in Crayola red. He is male, M-A-L-E, medium altitude, long endurance, 15 hours, unless it's cold. From far away, a man with his hand on the controls keeps him afloat and peers through his red insect eyes, sees the bad guys moving bad things, drinking instant coffee, putting their faces to the sand, the way people in prayer sometimes must. When the time comes, intelligence gathered and decided, the man presses a button, and two enormous missiles they call Hellfire eject from the Predator in a white spray of fire, like a star crashed into thin skins of men you would never know existed. The Predator leaves no remains. The Predator, spent, returns to the man at the controls as quietly as he left, lowering his bulging, aching head to meet the man's touch. And the man takes him apart for another night, all 6 pieces nestled in a kennel they call the coffin.
And next up we have Mike, who I believe is going to do a poem. Please give him a round of applause.
Alright, I've been really busy the past 3 weeks, so I only have old poems for you, but I see a lot of new faces, so maybe it's new to some of you, maybe it's, something you've heard before. Alright, the first one goes, I am so young that I can be poor without being thought lazy or stupid. I am so young that I can party all night and show up early the next morning. Not that I would show up early, I am young. I am so young I can flirt with the waitress and not be thought a pervert. I am so young you think that my vices are quaint and endearing, without fearing that I will never change. And is it strange that what we call the best years of my life are also my drunkest? I am so young, I am not expected to vote, march, volunteer, or donate. I am so young that I am still expected to grow out of my heartbreak, indignation, idealism, dreams, vitality, and sense of humor. I am young enough that I do not need to be taken seriously. I am so young that pot smoking, casual sex, kinky sex, brightly colored clothes, solid black clothes, tattoos, piercings, vulgar music, Eastern religion, dyed hair, long hair, and atheism are no longer considered rebellious. I am so young, I do not know who Abby Hoffman was or who Desmond Tutu is. I am so young that I barely remember life before the internet. I am so young that the only presidents that I can remember are Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Barack Obama. I am so young that I do not expect to collect Social Security. I am so young that I have never been afraid of an atomic bomb, a draft, or a world war. I am so young I have more friends in the virtual world than in the real one. I am so young I consider psychoactive pharmaceuticals and counseling to be something that normal, happy people must partake in order to remain normal, happy people. I am so young that I do not need to be taken seriously. Alright. I've done this one like 4 times, but it's my favorite one. This is one of 3 poems I didn't throw in the garbage, so Double Life of a Whirling Dervish, if you're familiar. Alright. I have a stomach full of nuclear fission, and I am having a lucid vision of a smashed up television, of a brand new human condition, of this Formica cancer's remission, and an SUV that runs on dead politician. I have 4 fingers and they are curling into a fist, and one of them is pointing and I am saying, not me, I am not this. My body is moving, dancing, fucking, flying, fighting, overriding the stop reflex. But I won't. I'm not done until I have convinced myself that my limitations are not my doubts, delusions, insecurities, failures, or fears, but instead the laws of physics. My real eyes realize real lies. My real ear can hear the real laughter and honest tear. My mouth is chewing its way through to a new view of myself multiplied by 2. My heart feels like it's made of amphetamines, and that means I am worthy of the boast I am alive. I have made my way outside the beehive, and if I were raptured, and I was on heaven and hell's defendant's stand, I would be able to say without a trace of regret, this is what I am. Nothing less and nothing more. The only thing is, don't look at what I was before. Because instead of nuclear fission, my stomach was filled with bullshit. My body was soft and my heartbeat was only a pitter-patter. Sometimes it was completely inaudible. My hands and feet and brain and spirit were clumsy because I confess I didn't use them. As a matter of fact, you caught me in rare form. Usually I fall somewhere closer to the norm. I don't typically have visions, and my guts are usually just nebulas. My life force is kind of like Dracula's. When I turn into a whirling dervish, I always get so busy that I fall over and I can't get up again for a very long time. When I think about other whirling dervishes, I think about ones who think they can spin so fast like a centrifuge, so fast that they take off and they burn up in the atmosphere. That fear is something that Dracula has in common with the rest of us. The fruit from the tree of knowledge has always been within my reach. I just don't have the courage to pluck it. Of course, there are those days when I smile to myself and I say, fuck it. This one's kind of humorous. It's called The Kids Don't Like It. I'm bored, said the boy and the girl. I deserve much better than what I'm getting. Nobody understands the trouble I've seen. Everyone should act nice instead of acting mean. They sat and they talked about Sart and they played their little game. They sat and they talked about friends and who was totally lame. They sat and they talked about how I am special and they are all the same. They sat and they talked about movies and books and romance. They sat and they talked about music and how to properly dance. They sat and they talked about clothes and the weave flannel trend. They sat and they talked about celebrity marriages and their inevitable end. They drank while they sat and they smoked a joint. The boy said how clever, and the girl conceded her point. They both went to college and got a 4-year degree. They both had some children, exactly 2.3. Their wedding was beautiful, and the minister released a dove. They mumbled their vows. They weren't really in love. They both went to work and learned how to sell. They learned Java and Python and HTML. They bought a huge house that resembled the Parthenon, and it was here that they met a cannibal Amazon. He began carving their bodies for his barbarian cuisine, and it struck the boy that this man is mean. He said, "You can't take my life, you bone-chewing shit." "I'm sorry," the cannibal said, "but you weren't using it."
And seeing that there's nobody left on the list, I would say that that about wraps it up, unless there's somebody with like something really pressing that they want to say, write, do, think. I wouldn't suggest getting up here and thinking unless you're going to think out loud. Alright then, I would like to officially wrap up this Freedom Open Mic Night, and I hope y'all come back next week. See you then.